and to have some new authors and some new series to be digging into, or one new series to dig into, but anyway. But let me know if, no. I've talked about a couple of them in other videos, so I'm going to do my best to not talk too much about them here so we can keep things kind of quick. We can all eye roll together because I don't ever do anything quickly here. Hi everyone, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. Today's video is going to be my May Rewind part 1. So I decided to break this up into 2 parts because I did read a bunch of books. Of course I have a lot to say about them because I can't not. And I also wanted to announce the winners for my giveaway from my 500/600 subscriber video that I did. So it's a whole lot of stuff to accomplish and I figured why not break it up into 2 parts. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm going to talk about a bunch of books that I read. I had a really good reading month, which I'm excited about. I did audiobooks, I did a reread, I did new authors, a whole lot of stuff to talk about. And then we will get to the subscriber winner giveaway thing at the end. So let's get on with it. The first book I read is The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor, and I talked about this in another video. So to keep it completely brief here, this is kind of pitched as Stephen King's It, and to me it read much more like Stand By Me, which was Stephen King's The Body. And I didn't get complete horror vibes from this, and I've seen other people's reviews, and one person in particular was saying how like she read this at night and literally had nightmares. I didn't, so I don't know if that says something about me. This is not my like darkness book that I was referring to at the beginning, but I really enjoyed it. It is about a group of kids who, when they are like 13 years old, and this is not a spoiler, this is like front flap kind of stuff, they find a body in the woods, and then 30 years later, sort of the mystery of sort of what led them to that discovery and what happened to that body that they find and how that person died is kind of coming back to haunt them, so to speak. So we get 2 different timelines, which I love. We get to sort of see the mysteries sort of woven together. There's definitely darkness to this. There's some scary parts. There's a little bit of graphic violence to it. Maybe more than a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. So this was a great read for me. I'm glad. I was like rave about it because I was a little bit nervous about it, but I didn't find it to be like super dark. So if you're curious about it, I would read it. I definitely think it's worth it. I'm curious to see what else C.J. Tudor does. I've heard mixed bag on The Hiding Place, so I'm just kind of pressing pause on that for now, but this one was great. The next book I picked up is 13 by Steve Kavanaugh. And this is a book that I picked up last year in a book depository haul. And I kind of like randomly came across it when I was just searching books. And sort of the tagline on this one is, "The serial killer isn't on trial, he's on the jury." And this is so good. I don't even know where to begin. This is the first Steve Kavanaugh I read. What I didn't know when I picked this one up, this is actually the 4th book in a series, but I will say you can read it as is. So obviously I jumped in on book 4. I wanted to read this. I wasn't going to go back to the beginning, but in completely random, let's pause for a moment, I had done a book outlet haul, not the last one I did, but like a different one. And randomly, wait for it, this book, The Defense, showed up in my box, and I didn't order this book, and this is by Steve Kavanaugh. I let them know I got this instead of a different book that I ordered. They told me keep it. They sent me the other book, which kind of makes me love Book Outlet even more. But this is actually the first book in the series, and I'm such a boob. I didn't even connect the dots at the time because I wasn't familiar with Steve Kavanaugh, nor was I familiar with the fact that this is a series. So, spoiler alert, I am going to go back to the beginning to read this, but back to 13. This book is, you see things from the perspective of the serial killer, and then you see things from the perspective of the attorney whose name, geez, I should have figured that out. Hashtag embarrassing. I read this at the beginning of Eddie Flynn, the beginning of the month. So Eddie Flynn is a complicated man with a complicated past, and you get enough insight to him to sort of understand the history of it. And there's obviously a cast of characters that play through all of the books. But anyway, he winds up being brought onto this case, and a famous young Hollywood actor is on trial for murdering his wife. And it's sort of one of these cases where like picture sort of like the most high profile celebrities today. Like if it was like Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth, and like Liam was accused of killing her, is basically like the epic level of what this is. So Eddie Flynn winds up being on the case. You get investigative pieces of it. You have like investigators that he's worked with. So there is a court element of it. They're in court. You see the trial, which I used to read like obsessively, and I haven't read in a really long time, but got like a little bit more of a taste of it when I started to dip back into John Grisham. So I really enjoyed that. But you also get life from the serial killer's perspective. So I'm not going to say anything else about the story because I don't want to ruin it, other than to tell you it was fantastic. Like, oh my God, so good. Like so riveted good. But it is really dark because you are seeing things from the serial killer's perspective. You see a lot. It gets gruesome. It gets gross. There's a lot of violence, which should go without saying because we're dealing with a serial killer. But if it's your jam, if you can handle this kind of stuff, absolutely check this book out. I already bought, there's no shame in my game, the 5th book in this, which is called Twisted, because it's about like a writer. And then I have this one, and then I picked up the 2nd book in the series because Book Outlet had it. So I just need to find book 3. But I am legit obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. Cannot recommend it enough. It goes dark, but it's so worth it. The next book I read was a huge attempt to lighten things up, and it did, and it's called This Adventure Ends by Emma Mills. And I talked about this in actually my subscriber giveaway video, so I will link that to you, or link that for you guys. And basically, all you need to know about this is YA contemporary. This was recommended by Julie at Pages and Pens. It's one of her favorite books of all time, and I love her. I completely trust her, so I got it. And I loved it. It's a great story about friendship. I think I said it's YA. So it's this girl, Sloane, who moves from New York to Florida with her family. She's like 3 weeks into school when the book opens. And it's all about sort of this group of friends that she gets sort of very warmly welcomed into. And they have a complicated past and a complicated history. It's a twin brother and sister, and then another guy and a girl. And it's really about sort of Sloane, who's always been a loner and always kind of kept to herself, and how she kind of lets her walls down and lets these people into her world and lets people get to know her, which is something that's not really her thing. And then it's also very much about her relationship with her father and her parents and her family, but very much the dynamic between Sloane and her father, which I had mentioned in the other video is my favorite father-daughter relationship since Veronica Mars. I love it. This is not a mystery. It's straight up contemporary. I just loved it. It was warm and fuzzy and exactly what I needed, but I very much enjoyed this book. It was a great recommendation. Totally recommend it. The next book I picked up was also a recommendation, and it's Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young. And this book, I had also mentioned in that subscriber giveaway video. I had heard about this from Melanie from Mel to the Any on her channel and had just picked it up at the time of that video. And this is a YA book. I had never heard of Suzanne Young before. She's written a whole bunch of books, and I feel like shame on me. But you guys know, YA is not my wheelhouse, so I'm very much in the dark. But I'm so glad I picked this up, because when I was hearing Mel talk about it, I got very like Handmaid's Tale vibes from it, and I'm so glad I read it. So glad I read it. It was such a good book. And this is a book, takes place in Innovations Academy, and our main character is a girl named Mina. And these girls are in kind of this very elite school. It's like a boarding school, except there's bars on the window. And they are sort of being groomed to be the best of the best. But they are not learning math and science and history. They are learning like how to make flower arrangements and how to be domestic and sort of how to have like, they always have to have perfect makeup and their hair is a certain way, and they're exercising to look their best, and they're being groomed to be proper, obedient young women. And all of these girls, sort of all their life, this is what it's been, and it's all they've known. And I mean, they have like no access to computers or internet or phones. Even when they call home to their parents, it's like there's like a universal phone at the academy that they use. There's no communication with the outside world. They're completely isolated. And what happens very early on in the book, kind of the premise of the book, they're on a field trip, they're coming home on the bus, they stop at like this gas station rest stop to use the bathroom. And Mina has what turns out to sort of be this chance encounter with a boy or guy who's at the gas station, he's like her age, getting gas for his car, and finds out that she's part of that academy and kind of says to her, like, what's going on there is not normal. And like, people are suspicious of it, and like, what's actually happening there. And this guard of hers comes in and kind of pulls her away. And that moment in the gas station is sort of enough to plant a seed with her and have her start to question, what are we doing here, and what are they doing with us, and what kind of comes for us after we graduate, because they have sponsors and they dress up at these parties and people come and kind of like check them out. So what's going to happen to them? And this is a story about these girls questioning the people at the school and questioning why they're there and fighting back. And it's a very powerful book. It's a very interesting book. The girls are great, the friendships, the dynamic between the girls, and sort of where it gave me like these Handmaid's Tale vibes. The difference being in Handmaid's Tale, Offred and the other women remember what life used to be like. These girls don't really know anything different, but they're starting to believe there's something different out there for them, and their lives are not normal. It's really, really good. I couldn't recommend it enough. I was very pleasantly surprised with how much that I enjoyed this book. It was a really well-written story. Suzanne Young has written a bunch of books, which I wasn't aware of, because again, it's not my expertise, but I'm curious to read some of her other books. And then there's a sequel to this coming out probably next year, Girls with Razor Hearts. So I will absolutely be picking that one up. And then, just a sidebar, for The Handmaid's Tale, I'm actually in the process of rereading it. I'm like halfway through with it right now. April from Getting Hooga With It is doing like a month-long read-along for The Handmaid's Tale. So if you're interested, definitely check out her channel. I'll link her video down below. The new season 3, premieres, I want to say this week. I'm filming this the beginning of June. I think it comes out this week. I love this story. I've talked about it before. I've read it multiple times, but I haven't read it in forever. And not that I've ever forgotten how powerful it was, but I'm like very pleasantly reminded of what an incredible story it is. It is the first Margaret Atwood book I had ever read. I'm re-falling in love with her and her writing, and I had planned to read this book anyway because The Testaments comes out in September, which I'm excited about. So I'm happy to be reading along with a group of other people. So if you're interested, for sure, get on that, because why not do it with a group? The next book that I read, I was so excited to get, and I got an ebook from NetGalley, and it's Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. So this book comes out in the beginning of July, and I am actually going to do a dedicated video diving like super deep into the book and all of my thoughts on it. I have an idea for a video, so hopefully I can get it together and we'll do that. I'm not obligated to do it, but I just want to because I have all sorts of thoughts on this book. But what I will tell you is that I totally loved it. I flew through it. I love Riley Sager. I think he's a great writer. I love his characters. He does beautiful setting and atmosphere and descriptions. This is set in Manhattan, Upper West Side, apartment buildings, sort of the likes of the Dakota. It is inhabited by rich and famous people. There is a huge shroud of mystery around it. And our protagonist, Jules, is as down on her luck as she can possibly be. She's got no job, broke up with her boyfriend, no place to live, her parents are dead, her sister disappeared. She is just desperate, basically. And she sees an ad to apartment sit, and it is in this building for way more money than makes any sense. There's a whole bunch of rules she has to follow, but she doesn't care because she needs the money and she gets to live in this lavish, amazing building for 3 months. No questions asked. And this is very much, if it looks too good to be true, it is. And no sooner does Jules move into the building that things start to take a very, very strange turn. So stay tuned for more on this. Like I said, this comes out in the beginning of July, so I will be posting a full video as we get closer. But I loved it. All right, so now we're gonna get to the good part, and we're going to do the giveaway. So first up, I'm gonna do the giveaway for Peter Swanson's Her Every Fear, which is the US only giveaway. Some people did indicate if they weren't in the US, not everybody did. I get it, but hopefully whoever I pick for this is a US person. So I'm gonna do one of those like random number generator thingies, and I have an Excel spreadsheet, which I popped everybody's name into. So we're gonna do that. And if you're a winner, I'll include all this in the body down below, but shoot me an email at chapterandconverse@gmail.com, and then we can exchange information. I can get your address and we can get things sent out. So like I said, first up is the book giveaway. Number 62. Isn't this exciting? Rosario Juarez. You are the winner of Her Every Fear by Peter Swanson. So contact me and we will get that out to you. Congratulations. And then the second one is going to be the Book Depository kind of gift card. You can't actually send a gift card. So up to $20. Again, we'll communicate over email. You tell me what book or books you want to get. I will buy them. I will send them to you, and hopefully everybody will be happy. So here we go. Winner number 2 is number 19, which is Shelby Taggart Reads. So congratulations, Shelby. Shoot me an email. We'll figure out what you want to get, and I will get those books out to you. So congrats, everybody. And thank you for everyone who watched, commented, told me about books that Booktube made you want to read, because I got a whole ton of recommendations from you guys because of it. Thank you guys so much for watching today. That is going to do it for part 1 of the wrap up. Part 2 will be coming. I'll probably post it next week. So I've got like audiobooks that I read, a super dark book by a new author to me, which I'm so excited about. And yeah, you're just gonna have to tune in to hear more about that. But congrats again to the winners. Be sure to contact me down below, and I will see you guys next time around. So have a great day, everybody. Bye.